Great news. We've added to our expert comment team by bringing in Andy Brassell, European football expert. Great to have you actually in the studio with us, Andy. We see you so often on Sky Sports News, staring down a lens from somewhere else from your study. Let's start with Haaland. You've seen lots of him over the years. Is there any doubt that he'll be a success?
No, I don't think so. And I think there would have been a doubt if it had come straight from Austria to the Premier League, which was a possibility, with, of course, Manchester United interested before Dortmund signed him. I think really Manchester City are going to reap the benefits of the work that Dortmund have done with him over the last couple of years, because it looks like a straight line. He was scoring goals in Austria, of course, at Champions League level, continued to score goals at Dortmund at the same rate, pretty much at one a game, and we assume it'll do something pretty similar at Manchester City with all the chances he's created. But what has happened in the interim is become a much better all-round player. You saw in his early months at Dortmund, he was scoring those goals, but goals cover a multitude of sins for a striker. Whereas actually, when Jadon Sancho was giving him the ball, or Achraf Hakimi or Torgan Hazard was giving him the ball, they're like, am I getting it back? I'm not getting it back. What's happening? And they were frustrated. But he's worked so much on that. And he saw himself as a leader from quite an early stage in this very young team. And that's helped him grow. And I think that will help him click with Manchester City better.
So if there is a problem, and I guess we're all kind of looking for problems in what seems like a perfect solution, a team who creates so many chances, could have scored more goals, now surely will score more goals, unless they're adapting their style of play, struggling to adapt the style of play slightly to work with a more old-fashioned number 9.
Yeah, and I think that is it. The fact that he's going to adapt to them, but they're going to adapt to him as well. It feels like he's filling a hole that they had before of that penalty box killer. And he's such a clinical finisher. He loves the ball in front of him. He shoots early. He's hyper competitive, hyper motivated, really hard on himself, a really tough critic of himself as well. I think that's going to help him.
We've seen him score lots of goals for Dortmund, just breaking on his own as well. He's got such pace, as well as the power, he's got the pace. We've seen him score goals pretty much running from the halfway line.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's not the kind of goal you've seen from Manchester City very much in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And it's going to change the way, I think, that teams defend against Manchester City. I think it's, if you could make an NBA comparison, I think if you look at the way that teams have changed defending in the NBA since Steph Curry, the best shooter in the planet, has come into the game, it's like you can't leave a guy open at half court because he can shoot and score from there. And it's the same with Erling Haaland. I think it's going to change the way that the teams play. They're going to maybe try and defend a little bit deeper against Manchester City, but he's got the tools to change that as well.
Darmish has been talking about Benjamin Sesko, who is now at Red Bull Salzburg, who you mentioned with Haaland. I mean, forgive me for being oversimplifying it and saying he reminds me a bit of Peter Crouch, the giant fellow who's actually got a good touch on the ground as well. But tell us a bit more about him.
I'm not really sure you can compare the two.
Fair enough, that's fine.
Firstly, Sesko has got a lot of work to be that good in the air. Secondly, at 19 years old, he's a better all-round player than Erling Haaland was at the same age.
Really?
Because he can suck players in and dribble past them. He's quick enough, but not express like Haaland is as well. But he's just so aware of everyone around him. That's something that Haaland had to learn at Dortmund. Now, he's not the goal machine that Erling Haaland was. I think that will come because not only can he take the chances, he can create the chances for himself. I think there's a bit of FOMO at the moment. You look at the biggest clubs in Europe, so you look at Manchester United, Chelsea to an extent, Real Madrid as well, who've had a little bit of interest, though they haven't really followed it through yet. I think there is a sense, and probably a growing sense at Manchester United, of we don't want to miss out on this next superstar. Let's go for it, even if it costs now, because the ceiling for Sesko is absolutely huge.
You heard any more than you had all week on?
From the initial discussions that United have had with RB Salzburg, there seems to be a gap in valuation, but as Andy said there, can they risk not taking that risk at this stage when potentially they'd have fewer rivals realistically going for him in this summer's transfer window? He's only 19 years old. He has been capped by Slovenia 13 times, scored 2 goals for them, but it's very raw. I think Andy's just mentioned some of his qualities there. I just wonder whether United are going to start thinking, we need to think long term. Now, there's all this noise going on about Cristiano Ronaldo. If they could bring in someone like this, I think it will give United a real boost just now.
I think that's it. It's about being quick, isn't it? Because, as you were saying, Darmish, like, they've been quite slow, Manchester United, and they identify a target and then they painstakingly take their time over it. Whereas Liverpool, it's the complete opposite. There's speculation, and a day later they've got the player in the bag. You know, they managed to keep things under wrap. I think that says a lot about the lack of leaks there are at Liverpool.
With Jota, you didn't even have the day, did you? I mean, Jota just came from nowhere.
No, exactly, and it makes the job for us guys a lot more difficult. But having said that, I think Manchester United need to be quick on this, because you look at how condensed the Champions League campaign is. If he has 4 to 6 good Champions League games, by the end of November, someone's wrapped him up, someone else has wrapped him up, and like you say, they'll have other rivals who are ready to take him straight away.